Hey, welcome back to the Big Rand Show as always. Thank you for joining me. If you could, hit the subscribe button down below. Let's get right to it. Now, I got some good and bad news for you on the economy going on here. Some really good, some that could be potentially damaging to the economy down the road. So, let me start with the bad news. The bad news is the fact that oil prices are going up. They've gone up over 16% since the first of the year. Yesterday we topped $70 a barrel on crude oil, and so that means our gas prices will continue to be going up. It wasn't that long ago that gas was sitting around $2 a gallon here in Texas, and where I live, it was just about a week or so ago, it was $2.25 to $2.30 a gallon. It is now over $2.55 a gallon, and I'm sure it's probably up to $2.60 a gallon by now. Now, that's the last time I drove past a gas station. That was 3 days ago. But I had driven past a gas station before, and it was 2:30, and then the next time I went, it was 2:55. That was 2 days later. So, what we have going on here is there's a number of things. Now, I know a lot of people are going to want to jump on the bandwagon and attack Donald Trump for this and say, oh, it's all Donald Trump's fault, blah, 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 blah. Well, we all know that policy can affect oil prices, but the difference is kind of negligible. Presidents don't necessarily have that much control over what takes place in the oil markets. A lot of it is controlled by OPEC and things like that. Now, there is something, though, that Donald Trump could do that could create problems in the oil industry and the oil markets and make oil more expensive, thus our gas being more expensive. But before I get to that, let's talk about some of the other things that are causing oil prices to go up right about now. One, you're heading to Memorial Day weekend and to the summer, and so a lot of states and a lot of areas are switching over to their summer blends for the year, for the summer holiday, for the summer season and everything. So that's one thing. You also have, you have a lot of refineries that are still, down in the Houston area and on the Texas coast that have not been brought back online after Hurricane Harvey. Some of them are still damaged and not running at 100% or completely just not up and running as of yet. And that's not surprising. Those are just some of the things, and of course you've got your standard, gas prices go up whether or not you talk about doing summer blends or not. Gas prices always go up in the summer because that's when people are going to travel more. It's a supply and demand kind of situation. Sometimes the demand just outpaces the supply, and right now we're dealing with a situation where where we're having these problems. We're going to have a supply issue. There's not going to be enough supply to meet demand, so gas prices are going to go up. You're probably going to be seeing gas prices by the middle of the summer, probably between $3 and $4, depending on your location, from what I've been reading. But those are some of the things that are very much out of the president's control. There's nothing he can do about the supply and the demand. We're drilling for oil. We've been drilling for oil. And so that's not going to change nothing. Some of the problem areas are things like OPEC, for sure, because OPEC has millions, if not billions, of barrels sitting at sea on ships that they're not bringing to port. Why? Because they want to keep control of the price of oil. They want to raise the price of oil. Now, if you remember, OPEC and Saudi Arabia, for example, a member of OPEC, went out of their way to lower prices to oil prices to the point that here in the U.S. we would stop thinking about using, renewable energy, and they lowered it enough that we didn't want to rely on natural gas anymore, because they got it to the point that our natural gas was costing more than their oil. So it put a lot of Americans out of work. And now what they're doing, they've put all these Americans out of work. And now what's OPEC doing? That's right. They're hoarding the oil, and they're cutting and they're raising. It's causing increases in the price of oil across the world, not just in America, but across the globe, but definitely here in America. So OPEC already put all these people out of work by the way they did things. A lot of people blame Barack Obama for the situation, but it wasn't Barack Obama that caused OPEC to purposely, flood the market with oil in order to cut us out of the out of being out of our cut our drilling down. That wasn't a government thing that changed that. There was a change in the economy, and that is what led to that. And the change was spearheaded by Saudi Arabia and the OPEC nations. You can sit there and argue all you want, but it's a fact. Saudi Arabia is far from our friend. I want to tell you that right now. Not only were 17 of the 19 hijackers on 9/11 from Saudi Arabia, they have been doing these things with the oil for decades. And over the last decade, it's been terrible what they've done with the oil prices. If you remember, every time the oil prices start really going high, our economy starts to hurt. But at the end of the day, I think if they keep raising oil prices, it's going to put our American oil field workers back to work, and they're going to be doing well. But the problem is, it's going to hurt the rest of us. Those of us that aren't getting paid from the oil industry are going to hurt. Our bottom line is going to hurt. Our pocketbooks are going to be broken. And those of us that are on fixed incomes are going to be screwed again. I had to park my car. At first we parked it because it was broken. And then the car had been had a problem and needed to be repaired, and I didn't have the money to fix it. But I parked the car, and it remained. I didn't even ask for help because gas prices were $4.50, $4.50, $4.25, things like that per gallon, and I couldn't even afford to drive my car to Walmart. And I don't want to see those gas prices coming up, but it appears that that's what OPEC wants to do. They want our prices to be extremely high. And right now we're topping $70 a barrel for crude for the first time since 2014. I believe this is one reason we need to focus on renewable energies and other ways of powering our vehicles and stuff, because OPEC doesn't care about you. They don't care about me. They don't care about America. If we want to talk about America first, we've got to start getting our own oil and our own natural gas and our own and making our own. Now, I have a problem with other countries running pipelines through our country, because that means we don't get the money, they do, and we take the environmental impact. But at the same time, we cannot keep relying on Middle Eastern oil and OPEC oil. We just can't do it. It's unsustainable. We need, the one thing we've had with decent gas prices has been we've had a booming economy to go along with it. And this economy is doing really well. We'll get into that in just a minute. But Iran is the other problem. That's the reason speculators and oil future investors are kind of shaking right now. Because the reports are that Donald Trump will, in the very near future, in about 5 days, pull out of the Iran deal. And if Iran pulls out of the Iran deal, even though the rest of the world supports it, Iran would return back we would replace our sanctions back on Iran, which would limit the amount of oil that they could export, possibly to all the way down to not allowing them to export any oil, which would hurt the people of Iran. It'd hurt the Iranian government, of course, but it would also hurt the supply. Like I mentioned earlier, we already have a supply issue. We're already going to have a supply issue. We already got refineries offline. We've already got, we've got you got extra people are going to be driving over the summer, driving vacations, things like that. And so the demand is going to increase way higher than it has been, for the first part of the year, where it's already gone up. Crude oil has already gone up 16%, where the price of gas has gone up 16% here in the U.S. And so pulling out of the Iran deal is probably the only thing that Donald Trump has control of. But at the same time, I can't convince Donald Trump not to pull out of the deal. He's going to listen to whatever Israel pulled out the other day, and whether or not what Israel said the other day is factual. He's not going to care whether it is or not. We all know that Donald Trump listens to the last person in the room. So on May 12th, May 13th, it's most likely 100% guaranteed that Donald Trump pulls out of the Iran deal, unless some people, get in his ear before then. This could be bad for the economy, where they're talking at least $80 a gallon, or not a gallon, $80 a barrel, which would increase our gas price would probably be $3 to $4 a gallon. And if they hit $80, if it hits $80 a barrel, don't be surprised if OPEC keeps withholding oil in order to keep driving those prices up to where they're right around the $90 to $100 range, like they were in the past, back when the economy crashed the last time. But speaking of the economy, I wanted to sit here and give a positive thing that has happened. And we all know that the economy was already starting to really get to going before Donald Trump took office. It was really getting back on everybody. It was getting back on a good rocking and rolling motion. Really, it was doing really good, and it's only gotten better since then. When Donald Trump took office, I think we were sitting somewhere just under 5% unemployment. We are now sitting at 3.9% unemployment. I am very happy to see that. I'm glad to see Americans back to work. It's taken a long time. Now, I will repeat what I've said in the past, and what I've written in my blogs in the past, the things I put on social media in the past. The economy is doing almost exactly what economists 10 years ago said it would. When the economy crashed in 2007, 2008, they said that it would take almost 10 years for a full recovery. And we're now roughly 10 years out. And look at that, a full recovery. Now, the thing is, you got a lot of people that aren't working. You still got a lot of people not working. Now, and some of that is how, unemployment is calculated. Of course, unemployment, the official numbers are 3.9. But if you break them down into states, there are still states where people aren't getting to work. And you got a lot of people that have quit the workforce. But you see a lot more people. You got a lot of people that are getting back into the workforce. Showing the economy's doing better and people are getting hired, and less people are needing unemployment and welfare benefits. Now, you can say that, that's all because of Donald Trump's tax cuts, but in a way you can't really verify. You can't really prove that, because the economy was already doing well before Donald Trump made the tax cuts. And there are a lot of people out there, a lot of economists that are out there now that are panicked because the economy is, as they see it, is doing too good. It's one of those things. Things are too good to be true. And sometimes they are. I remember how things were back in 2000, the last time that unemployment was this low. And it wasn't that long after where the economy took a nosedive. The bubble burst, as it were. Now it's just a small recession that didn't last all that long until 9/11 came around and hit us with another one. But all in all, it could be a good thing. It could be a bad thing. But I'm glad to see Americans working. I'm not going to give all the credit to Donald Trump, but I can't say that I can't give him some, because he has at least, as president, he has at least overseen, a massive drop in our unemployment rate. So that's something I can't really hate on him for. Whether the tax cuts did it or not, I don't know. All I know is, as of right now, Donald Trump hasn't done anything to necessarily affect the economy in a negative, a hugely negative way. Now, there's some things that he could be doing that could be a problem, that in the future could be a problem. Repealing the ACA, for example, that's going to make some people not even be able to work because they're going to have to quit working so they can have government insurance. And we don't want that, because fewer people people quitting work jobs because they don't have insurance and they can't afford insurance, so they need government insurance, so they have to quit working or they have to work less. It means they're going to need food stamps, and the food stamp price, the cost of food stamps are going to go up, healthcare is going to go up for the government and things like that. So the ACA is one of those things that needs to be continued, and we need to keep the government, or keep the government open, so government workers are able to go to work. But all I can say is Donald Trump has done an okay job, I think, in my book, on the economy as of right now. He's at least not broke it. We were already doing well. The tax cuts appear to be having some effect, but the effect, I don't think the effect on unemployment is really coming from the tax cuts, because most companies just took that money and put it back in their pockets and did not hire that many new workers. Even Walmart cut back on workers. You've got a lot of companies across the country that are shutting down. But all in all, the economy seems to be doing good. Looks like most Americans are back to working. And I'm very happy to see, I'm very proud to see us back below 4%, when just, a little over a decade ago, people were saying, 6% was your standard, was standard. And then 5 or 6 years ago, economists, 8, 9 years ago, were saying that 8% or 9% may be the new standard for unemployment. I'm glad to see that America has gotten back to work, that American businesses have hired more workers, and that more people are working. These numbers are doing well, and I think that's really good for the country. So let's kind of keep that going. At least let's look at some of the positive things that have happened. We can sit there and talk about the negative things that Donald Trump has done and the things that he has brought forth. From emboldening bigots to trying to take health care away from poor people who really need it. But at the same time, the economy is doing really well. So we've got at least we got some positives here. I think there's some positives here. We can't blame Donald Trump for every problem on earth, and we can't sit there and not admit that the numbers are doing well. I refuse to act like the Republicans did during Barack Obama's term as president, where no matter what it was, I said fake news. Where they're like, that's fake news. I'm not going to go with that. I'm not going to live like that. If a Republican's in office and the economy's doing good, I'm going to admit that the economy's doing good. It may not all be Donald Trump, it may not be all things he's done, because he hasn't done a whole lot policy-wise. The only thing he's passed really is that tax cut. But, he is the president, and he is overseeing this massive drop in unemployment. Anyhow, I hope those of you out there that are looking for work can find it. I sure as heck haven't been able to. People for years told me, "Oh, you'll find a job once Donald Trump's president." Because I had friends that told me years ago they thought Donald Trump would run for president after Obama was out and win. And so and then after he won the election, people were like, "Oh, well, you'll be able to get a job now." Nope. Because no matter who you put in office, people don't like to hire certain people. And so I sit here still unemployed. If any of you have any work that I can help you with, please let me know. Hit me up in the comments below. Hit me up on Twitter, Facebook. Links are in the description. And I'm going to try to make some changes to things here at the Big Ranch Show. One, our upload times are going to change at the Big Ranch Show. I'm no longer going to be putting up videos at 8 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock in the morning like I had been. The new times are going to be closer to like noon and 3 o'clock. The videos will still be recorded first thing in the morning, most likely. But I've noticed that people aren't watching them at that time, so I'm going to try new times. And I'm going to try, if I do 2 videos, they'll release around 12 to 1 o'clock. And then the second one somewhere between 2 to 3 to 4 o'clock. But the plan is about noon every day and about and about 3 every day if I have 2 videos. If there's only 1 video, it'll go up around noon, and that'll be what'll happen there. So I just wanted to keep those of you that do watch this channel kind of informed of what's going on here. I'm just trying some new times, so if you look up at the time you normally expect a video around 9 o'clock and there's not a notification, don't worry about it. It just means that the video is going up a little at a different time. Trying to find a way to maximize views for videos and make sure everybody's able to watch them. I also plan to get back to live streaming in the very near future. I'll be doing a live stream, I believe, tomorrow morning about some stuff about what I watched with Anthony Bourdain's Parts Unknown, where he travels to Trump country down in West Virginia, and I really want to have a talk about that. I want to discuss the situation, and I think we really need an in-depth conversation there. And so I don't think it's something I'm going to do here. I think I'm going to do it on a live stream, I think tomorrow or Wednesday morning. Anyhow, y'all have a great day. I'll see you down the road. I know this video is a little long, but if you've made it this far, thank you for watching, and have a great day.